here we are doing lesson 2 on scales and stuff, playing point. So we learned this stuff in C, and the 2 tasks we did with each fingering were, I'm just gonna play through the whole thing, and then just that makes me think of playing here. We're starting on C, so I'm using fingering 1. Same thing if I started here, I'd be in D, just we get that whole concept. And that's, so just if you want to go back and play through 1 through 7 right now in your practice, just have it on the tip of your tongue. Maybe do that and take the approach, I'm playing the entire thing, here's the state capital, I'm playing the entire thing, here's the state capital, just so it's on the tip of your tongue like that. Cool. Now you're just going to camp out at some fret, pick one where note name memorization is just like not even something you would ever make a mistake on, though I know you're pretty solid on these 2 strings. Which we're seeing, we could conceivably never know a note name off of those 2 strings, except for the 2 low strings, and play everything everywhere. That'd be suboptimal, nor are we going to do that, but that, just like when you're thinking about bar chords, keeps coming back to that analogy, that's what your brain's doing. Even if you start like up on the high end of it, like this C sharp minor chord, chances are your brain for a split second was like, C sharp minor, I'm going to play this thing up on it or whatever, or you did that 16,000 times, which allowed you to go right to that. Or anyway, so it's all the same stuff. We're just like, your scale ideas are going to start with thinking about one of the 2 low strings, if only for a split second, until you just wake up one day and it's not like that anymore. So hey, here I am, or I'm just be like, I'm the 5th fret. I'm playing number 1, just thinking about the hand movement. I'm in E flat. I feel like you can do that. Just be like, hey, yeah, it worked. I'm playing number 2. Oh yeah, this is gonna be C sharp. Just 1 fret up from where I learned it. Now I'm playing 3. Oh yeah, this is where I learned it. It's gonna be C. 4, the one I knew before we got together. I'm in B flat. 5. The answer's gonna be A flat. And this is one where you were doing it like this. And we're just picking, and here we are picking the most efficient one. When we, here it's like we're going yup, normal, normal, yup, normal, normal, normal. Just like rather it would be less convenient to go, I'll do it in C, and then transition to this rather than just, here's what's going to happen here. You're just going yuck, yuck, normal, 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 normal. And while we're at it, all these strong finger phrasings that your subconscious is craving, we're going to learn as our pentatonic fingerings, and then you're going to be playing it all at once. Anyway, so just back to where we were, I'm just going, now I'm playing 5, that's when I'm in A flat. Now I'm playing 6, the weird one where the answer's going to be G, with all the pinky reaches. And here we are doing that fingering because it kept us centered for all the other stuff. The useful part of this is up top here, where we have all this good revocable bit, and then the pentatonic on top of that is just 3-0. So you'll do a lot of stuff like that. But anyway, there was 6, and the answer would be G. I'm in G, And more with number 6, think about it that way. Like when we were in C, here's C, and it's like, we're like, I want to play number 6 in G. Your brain just goes G, and then you play it there or whatever. Cool. So 7 is the last one. I'm just going to figure out hand movement. The last one. I'm in F. So I kind of like dilly-dallied a bit there talking about stuff, but basically I just want 1 through 7 in order, play, point. Get really good at that. It's only going to take like a half hour to an hour of doing that at a couple different frets before you're just like, yep, 1, 2, 3. So 4 minutes into your video, that's where you're at. Stop and just get all kinds of stuff like that. And I'm just going to make a note here. About a quarter. That says about 4 minutes in is when we start talking about the pentatonic overlaps, which I've yet to write down on the page. Cool. So now just switching back to, so now after you've done them in order, now you're doing them at random. You're going, alright, I'm going to play 7. I'm in E. I'm going to play, then you're allowed to play anything but 6 or 1, Now I'm like 3, I'm in B. This is where you're really going to start to have it wired. If you only did it in order, then your brain would be, relying on thinking about 1 to get to 2. So that's the key step, is doing that randomization where you just like, that's how you're going to get it all totally wired. And I'm just going to be like, doom, 5 minutes, and we were talking about this. Awesome, so pentatonic overlaps, you already know these fingerings probably, like, you know, I mean, we're talking about C, A minor. So, cool. Back here on top of our number 1 fingering, or our number 1, 2 area, there's going to be 5 of these because there's 5 notes in the scale, so it's going to be like some very clearly overlap, you know, the main blues box very clearly overlaps our 3rd fingering, but some of them, you know, like the one behind it's kind of in 1, 2 area. So yeah, anytime you're playing that, you've got this normal, yuck, yuck, normal thing. And this is the one that I used as case in point for you don't just do the most efficient thing, you know, doing that. If you're doing that, you're going to think about, like, I'm playing number 1 and I'm just playing these pentatonic notes. But we also want, but there's going to be so many times where you just use the 2 low strings or something where you're like, ah, and that's a really good blue note right there. Obviously it's the same as going right there, but it's just all right under our fingers there. Cool, so we're kind of thinking of this behind the box number 5 pentatonic of 5 of 5 as this part, and while we're at it, the stuff in the middle, which I do this annoying way, which is the same fingering as this. Let me just get this person in charge for a second. And we'll finish this video. Just finishing my video. Not hanging for a minute. Good. Alright, cool. So you see where this is going, and so then next on the fretboard we're in your main blues box where we would never do this, but up on the high strings you're going to be using your ring finger so that you can bend anytime, and it's like, yeah, you could pinky bend, but then your ideas would sort of be geared towards diatonic and then I bend, and we want to, like Rakeem said, we want to be able to flip it in either direction. And so yeah, and then the main, like the more obvious, if we decided we were going to do a bunch of pinky bends, it's when you advance up into the number 2 blues box that's on top of number 4, where if you're on your ring finger, it's the seamless thing where you can just tear it up versus being here and then having to, like, am I doing it this way? That would be the silliest thing ever. So yeah, that's why bends and getting all squared away there. So yeah, on top of our number 4 fingering, we're just going to be like, hey, here's number 2 blues box, and fuck the low strings. There's not going to be any other part of the fretboard where I'm going to be like, just don't use the low strings, but realistically, we know how to do this already within our major scale fingering, and we're going to see that people tend to really just use this part up here, and then transition and play either out in front of it or whatever. Cool, so now we're at the most annoying diatonic fingering, which is 6 with all these pinky reaches. That's the one that's 3 in a row of these that you might have learned like this, which is the silliest thing ever times 2. So that the one actually not so useful string is under our fingers, and then you scoot forward or whatever. So yeah, like 6 diatonic, and we're not in a rush. We still got a couple minutes. You know, it's like the bottom half is pretty weird, but this, and then now I'm up here where I can play, or I could play the pentatonic one, where the way we're going to do that is just comfortable, there's the root, comfortable, yuck, comfortable. So one weird note reaching back here, so it's like, 10th, and there you will sometimes use your pinky because of what we just did on the 2nd string. There's going to be times where you want to do that, and there's a really good blue note right there. On the, we're at like, here's A, I'm playing the 3 in a row, weird one, up on the 1st string, and on there as well. Cool, so there's that, and that kind of speaks towards how you'll actually use number 6, which is going to be a lot of pentatonic-y stuff down on the low end, and then you get up top and you have the option of the diatonic fingering, or the pentatonic fingering, or the blues scale. Lastly, we're at this part of our life where we've got there, again, you are going to use middle pinky there quite a bit. There are going to be situations, and I'm assuming you're like, yeah, that fingering, you totally know what I'm talking about with these pentatonics, am I correct?
I know, I know several of them.
Okay, I can write them all out. Okay, so you didn't know that last one. Cool. I'll write them out real quick before you bounce. But anyway, when we're playing this one, we're kind of thinking of the 6th string as not existing. Most, it's like A, this one right here.
Yeah.
So most of the time you play that in the same way that when you're playing D minor here, you're kind of thinking about the instrument as, fifth string and down, and then I have a sixth string I can do stuff on. So yeah, with this one, sometimes when you get up to the high part, you're going to want to be on strong fingers, and then go back into the normal fingering. Sometimes you're going to want to use that thing here to do things like this, and so it's not like we're totally KOing our pinky for all pentatonic fingerings, just in the spots where it makes sense. There's no clear, pentatonic 1, became pentatonic 1 because just index this, index that. Whereas this one we actually have some decisions that are subjective like that right there. We would totally do both ways. But we already know how to do it this way from the major scale, so. And then just hop around and do it all with your index. Index and ring, just so you can bend, index bends, underemphasized. So cool, and I'm going to write these pentatonic fingerings down. So that's what you're doing. You're going to come in next time just sick good at I can play every major scale at every fret with potential brain farts versus like I kind of know it, if I can work it out and can picture your 5 pentatonics on top of your C fingerings readily, and then we'll spread those out to other keys. If you find yourself spreading the pentatonics out to other keys already, that's totally cool. This is just the stuff we're definitely trying to have completed.
Cool.
Yeah, so let me,